Have you ever pondered on how the world would be today if the tides of World War II had turned differently? Just imagine a conflict so widespread it touched nearly every corner of the globe, involving countless nations in a battle of ideologies, power, and survival. World War II was a clash of titans, with key players like the United States, the Soviet Union, Germany, and Japan shaping the course of history. Let's embark on a journey back in time to understand the sequence of events that unfolded during World War II. The war officially began on September 1st, 1939. But what led to this global conflict? It's crucial to understand the roots of World War II to truly grasp the scale of this catastrophic event. The seeds were sown at the end of the First World War with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. This treaty, intended to maintain peace, had the opposite effect. It placed the blame for the war squarely on Germany, burdening it with massive reparations and territorial losses. As resentment grew in Germany, the world saw the rise of fascism and Nazism. Fascism, with its emphasis on dictatorial power and forcible suppression of opposition, took root in Italy under Benito Mussolini. Meanwhile, in Germany, Adolf Hitler led the Nazi Party, promising to restore Germany's former glory and rectify the perceived injustices of the Treaty of Versailles. Then, in a blatant violation of international law, Germany invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939. This act of aggression was the final straw. Britain and France, bound by treaties to protect Poland, declared war on Germany. The invasion of Poland marked the official start of World War II, a conflict that would engulf the world in a storm of violence and destruction. The wheels of war had been set in motion, and there was no turning back. Opening. The war was a series of battles and campaigns. But which ones were the most significant? World War II was marked by countless battles, each playing a crucial role in shaping the course of history. Yet certain confrontations stand out for their scale, impact, and the significant turning points they represented. Let's start with the Battle of Britain, fought in the skies over the United Kingdom during the summer and autumn of 1940. The Royal Air Force, vastly outnumbered, faced off against the German Luftwaffe in a desperate struggle for control of the airspace. Despite the odds, the RAF's victory averted a planned invasion by sea. Churchill famously said, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." The Battle of Britain marked the first major defeat of Hitler's military forces. Next, we move east to Operation Barbarossa, the code name for Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. This was the largest military operation in history in terms of manpower and area covered. It was here that Hitler made a grave strategic blunder, opening up a second front. The brutal Russian winter and fierce Soviet resistance halted the German advance, turning the tide of the war in favor of the Allies. Across the Atlantic, we have Pearl Harbor. In December 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on the American naval base in Hawaii. The event led to the United States' entry into the war, a significant shift as the Allies now had the industrial and military might of the US on their side. Returning to the Eastern Front, we witnessed the Battle of Stalingrad. Fought during the harsh winter of 1942-43, it was one of the deadliest battles in history. The Soviets managed to encircle and defeat the German Sixth Army. The loss at Stalingrad marked a significant turning point, shattering the aura of invincibility that surrounded the Nazi forces. Finally, we arrive at D-Day, June 6, 1944. The largest amphibious invasion in history saw Allied forces storm the beaches of Normandy in France. The successful operation began the liberation of German-occupied Western Europe and laid the groundwork for the final push into Germany. Each of these battles was a turning point, a moment where the tides of war shifted. They weren't just significant for their strategic and military outcomes, but also for their impact on morale and the psychology of the nations involved. Closing. These turning points shaped the course of the war, leading to an eventual shift in power. The world was forever changed, not only by the war itself, but also by these key battles and turning points that decided its outcome. While battles raged on the fronts, another horrific event was unfolding: the Holocaust. As World War II raged on, humanity witnessed one of its darkest chapters. The Holocaust, a systematic, state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany and its collaborators, was a horrifying event that unfolded in the backdrop of this global conflict. The causes of the Holocaust find their roots in the deep-seated anti-Semitism that pervaded European society for centuries. This prejudice was exploited and amplified by Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, who blamed Jews for Germany's economic problems and its defeat in World War I. The Nazis propagated a hateful ideology that considered Jews as racially inferior and a threat to the so-called Aryan racial purity. In the years leading up to the war, this bigotry manifested in a series of escalating discriminatory laws and violent pogroms, such as the infamous Kristallnacht in 1938. However, it was during the war that the Nazis implemented the final solution, their plan for the total extermination of the Jewish people. Jews from across Europe were rounded up and transported to concentration and extermination camps. There, they were subjected to unimaginable horrors: forced labor, brutal medical experiments, and systematic murder. The scale and cruelty of these atrocities were unprecedented. The Holocaust had far-reaching impacts. It decimated Jewish communities across Europe, forever altering the continent's cultural and demographic landscape. The sheer horror of the Holocaust shocked the global community, leading to the universal condemnation of genocide and the establishment of international laws and institutions to prevent such atrocities. In its aftermath, the world grappled with the enormity of the Holocaust. Survivors, bereft of their families and homes, faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. The world was forced to confront the depths of human cruelty and the dangerous consequences of hatred and bigotry. The Holocaust remains one of the darkest chapters in human history, a grim reminder of the horrors of war. It stands as a stark testament to the atrocities that can occur when prejudice and hatred are allowed to flourish unchecked. A reminder that we must always strive for peace, understanding, and the protection of human rights for all. After 6 long years of war, how did it all end? World War II, a global conflict that had consumed millions of lives, resources, and time, finally drew to a close in 1945. But what led to this monumental moment in history? In the Pacific Theater, the United States had been inching closer to Japan's main islands. The Battle of Okinawa, one of the war's bloodiest, had given the US a strategic foothold. Yet, the Japanese resolve to fight to the bitter end was not broken. Faced with the prospect of a costly invasion and prolonged war, the United States made a decision that would change the world: the use of atomic weapons. In August of 1945, 2 atomic bombs, nicknamed Little Boy and Fat Man, were dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The devastation was unimaginable. The cities were leveled, and tens of thousands of people perished instantly. The radiation fallout would claim even more lives over time. This unprecedented show of destructive power finally broke Japan's resistance. On August 15th, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender, marking the end of war in the Pacific. Meanwhile, in Europe, the tide had turned against Nazi Germany. The Allies, having landed in Normandy in June of 1944, pushed towards Germany from the west. Simultaneously, the Soviet Union, bearing the brunt of the German onslaught for years, was advancing from the east. Caught in a vice, Germany's situation was dire. In April of 1945, Soviet forces reached Berlin. Adolf Hitler, the man who had plunged the world into this catastrophic war, committed suicide in his bunker. A week later, Germany unconditionally surrendered. Victory in Europe, or VE Day, was celebrated on May 8th. World War II was over. The Allies had triumphed, but at what cost? The war had claimed an estimated 70 to 85 million lives, about 3% of the world's population. World War II ended, but it left behind a world changed forever. World War II was more than just a war. It was a testament to human resilience and a reminder of the horrors of war. This monumental event in history reshaped the world, leaving an indelible mark on humanity that still echoes today. From the early stirrings of conflict to the pivotal battles that changed the course of the war, each moment bore witness to both the darkest and the most triumphant facets of the human spirit. We delved into the chilling horrors of the Holocaust, a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink when blinded by hatred and prejudice. Yet in the face of such adversity, we also saw resilience, courage, and an enduring hope for a better tomorrow. As we reached the end of the war, the world breathed a collective sigh of relief, yet the scars remained, serving as a powerful reminder of the cost of conflict. As we remember World War II, let's not forget the lessons it taught us, so that we may strive for a world of peace and understanding.